take the hour?
I don't have anything to say.
Okay.
That's not ever happened. Somebody write that down, please.
Josh?
Nope, I thought that was the sign-in sheet.
Okay. Well, Judge, it's your turn.
All right, very good. We'll just swear some people in then, by golly. We'll just do them one at a time. I've already got the statement of officer from both, so Steve, I have you up first. All right. Go ahead and take care of yours, sir. Put my glasses on just in case I need them.
Wisdom goggles.
Yeah, just in case. All right, here we go. So if you'll raise your right hand, I, Steve Smith,
I, Steve Smith,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
Medina County Emergency Service District Number 4
Medina County Emergency Services District Number 4
Commissioner
Commissioner
of the State of
of the
Texas,
State of Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United
the
States
Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state.
and this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
I'm going to get your signature right over there.
Sir.
Thank you. Patrick? Are you going to swear?
I
All
am.
right, here we go. I, Patrick DuBose,
I, Patrick DuBose,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of
the duties of the office of
Medina County Emergency Services District Number 4
the Medina County Emergency Service District Number 4
Commissioner
Commissioner
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and to the best of my ability
and to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United
of
States
the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Can you get your signature right there on the signature? No. And I will get copies back to y'all after Jennifer notarizes my signature.
Thanks, sir.
I'll get them back and send them to you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Congratulations. Thanks for your hard work. Appreciate it. Yours too.
Thank you. Can you stick around for a while?
Yes.
Amanda, are you going to be the role of Patrick?
I'll support you.
Okay, so,
Okay, so Mr. Borsier is out sick, unfortunately, so I hope that he recovers soon. I did get this report just before the meeting this afternoon because he was out sick, so we'll give him an excuse. It is raw data, it hasn't been fine-tuned and compared with what he normally does each month. He reviews each call case by case,
Right.
make sure all the times are accurate. So he does have an estimated for the month of December, 194 calls of service within the district. And you can see the average response times. He also has mutual aid requests that we've assisted mutual aids in other areas 3 times and received 12. I would like to add that in the report that all of you should have gotten from me that I received from the sheriff's office, we've received 20 mutual aid calls into the district from other providers. Those numbers are not reflected. I did cross-compare right before the meeting with the Allegiance report. Those calls for service do not get assigned to the district because we don't have a unit here, so there's no unit to assign to. And they don't get assigned to Allegiance because they don't have a unit here. So Allegiance can't track it, we don't have visibility, so the sheriff's office assigns a generic EMS unit in their dispatching software, and that's where we get these mutual aid requests from. It is something that I'm going to, with the board's discretion, take to the sheriff's office and see if there's still a way that we can ask them to still assign by station number, so that moving forward, that will be a report that I can pull automatically without having to reach out to dispatch every month and get somebody there to pull that report for us.
So if they do it by station number, how will that come to us if both our stations are out? How would they be able to track that differently than what they're doing now?
It would still give us visibility on that call within our district. Right now, if they assign it to a generic EMS unit, like we had one the other day that Lidl ended up responding to. I happened to be here in the station, so I got the numerics and I responded, but I don't have any information to respond to. I don't have the address, I don't have what the caller called in for, and any of our notes, because they're not assigning the call to our district because both units are out. So if they can assign it to the station number, or maybe they build my number into the CAD as a resource, they can still assign it and we would still be able to pull that visibility. We would still be able to pull the call notes, pull the addresses, and then we could say on these calls, we didn't have a unit available. Somebody will get on the radio and say, hey, turn up the next neighboring agency or next available unit.
When you come on duty, do you check in with dispatch and put yourself in service?
Right now, no.
Okay.
It's something I need to fine tune with the sheriff's office. I haven't been responding to calls for several months. This is a relatively new process, so it's something that myself, the crews, dispatch, we've all been working with.
Okay.
Anytime I do respond, I do notify on the radio, I'm en route, I'm on scene, I'm clear, I'll be en route to the next call, I'm available, so they do know that.
When you respond,
Yes, sir.
are there cases where you would respond that Allegiance wouldn't respond?
Yes, often.
And how does that come up in the numbers with you responding, vice the contractor responding?
So usually it's just initial care. When both units are out of service or they're on transport,
Yeah.
I'll respond to calls in the district and initiate care. I do a PCR document just like the ambulance crews would. And I tell dispatch, hey, notify the next available unit, or see if Lidl's available or if Rio's available. Whichever unit's available with the shortest ETA is the one that I'd advise them to call.
My concern is that that response time is if you're out, I'm not saying, if you're out goofing off and it takes you 20 minutes to get to a call,
Sure.
and is that going to ding on Allegiance's?
No, because our PCRs and my times
Okay.
and my reports
That's what I
are
was-
separate from their times and their reports. So when the EMS crew's responding, often they'll respond back from San Antonio or maybe from Hondo.
Sure.
If I'm on scene, they'll notify, we'll communicate via radio. They can put in their report when patient care started, but that doesn't change their on-scene time.
Sure.
So let's say it's a heart attack or stroke, something time sensitive, they can say care started 20 minutes prior to us getting there. And then they just document why. It's a common spot in our PCRs. We use the same platform they do. And they can document the reason for response delays. It could be distance, travel, traffic,
Just all of it, yeah.
train, whatever.
I just want to make sure that we're separating those two
Yes.
entities as we're doing our response times, and then again, you're able to reconcile it when you come back
Yes.
as
So all of ours, anything that I respond to goes into ESD4's reports. Allegiance does their own reports. Even though it's the same system, they're separate.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So you had, while you're up there giving your EMS report, you had sent me items that I realize it's not on the agenda, we can't consider or take action of. Did you send that to the rest of the board?
Not yet.
The cost savings and stuff like that?
It's been brought up to the rest of the board in prior meetings, so we'd have to go back and pull those minutes for those meetings. Example, one of them, I feel like our AT&T bill is excessive.
It is.
And I think that we should explore alternatives to save money. Starlink is way cheaper. We can look at FirstNet. We're a first responder and a government entity. We should be on the government network. I don't know what the cost difference is between the two. I would have to ask Christy. Another thing would be training. I would like to start a training academy for CEs so that we can actually do in-house training here. My initial goal plan was to do 8 hours in person every month at a minimum for all the crews. And then we could actually issue CEs. And if neighboring departments want to come and sit in and participate, they're more than welcome to.
That microphone's been on, just for whoever's.
My fault. Just hand it.
I'm gonna put it on top.
So I can tell you for a fact, I'm on FirstNet and I have Starlink both. They're a lot cheaper than what we're paying for that stuff right now. FirstNet is $40 a month for me. And Starlink, I looked it up, I couldn't believe that their business is supposed to be $40 a month plus the cost of buying the product. I'm paying $120 a month. That still beats the crazy amount of money that's going out for.
Yeah, and I mean, initially when we were gonna start our own transporting service, we do have 2 iPads, we have 2 cell phones that were supposed to be for the ambulances. Since we've renewed our contract with Allegiance, they already provide those resources. From what I understand with Christie, it's not something that we can just bail on and exit out of,
So you guys would have to decide in this meeting when you're discussing it on whether or not you're gonna pay all the equipment off first, because we have to pay the equipment, because it's on that.
Contract?
So we have to pay off the equipment first, and then once the equipment is done, then we can cancel. The internet, the one that is the higher bills, is the fiber, because we own the fiber. Fiber belongs to us, nobody else can use the fiber but us. And that includes 2 fibers, one upstairs and one downstairs. 3 cell phones, which are digital on fiber. 2 of the phone lines go to the
Fire
alarm system, which we have to have, and they have to be digital. And then 1 is the actual phone that's here. So just to kind of give you an idea.
I think it's just something we gotta take up as
Yeah.
a board.
I mean, it's something we can look into.
Log on that
We
stuff.
can price different providers if that's something that the board chooses to do.
Well, I can't speak for the board, but I would really like you to bring some options, maybe the next meeting, we'll have this on the agenda so we can actually do something with it.
Okay. The training component, that's easy. Application fee with the state is $62.
But now that we're contracting with Allegiance, don't you provide your own training for your staff?
They have online CE access for all their staff. What I'm proposing would be an in-person training.
But it's not a cost savings measure. It's a quality measure.
It's a quality measure.
Okay.
It's a
I just want to
quality.
make sure we're
Yeah.
talking with apples.
The only thing we would be out is the $62 for the application fee to the state and any training equipment that we might want to purchase in the future. A lot of the stuff, what we do in most training academies, when something expires off the ambulance, we can't use it. Instead of just throwing it away, we keep it, we save it for training.
And where it could be a cost savings to us is if in the future we wanted to do like an advanced level class, because the fire department's just doing basic EMT, they can't afford to do an advanced level class. Jason has contacts with Methodist to be able to put those classes on, that could make us some money.
That's true.
So,
And I've talked to the fire department in length about this because I know that they have a big push for their EMS program and training. And I told them that my intent is not to compete or to take business away from them. But what I would prefer is, because we are viewed as the higher level of care, that we offer the higher level of care trainings. It's only fair that if we're the highest level of care, that we're providing the more advanced level trainings.
And that'll be something we get in depth with next month, and we can take some action.
yeah, and he can bring us much more options than just giving us a first blast at it.
Yes.
So,
My apologies, it wasn't on this agenda.
Well, we kind of brought that, you and I had a discussion on Monday, it was too late for anything like that to happen, so.
So, any other questions in regards to EMS report?
No, I don't.
Mr. Zamora? Mr. Beck?
Okay, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody look at the minutes? Last one.
I was not here for one of them, so I can't really speak to it.
If it was up to me, everybody would have a copy of these things we're talking about, but.
There is extra agendas on the.
Yeah, but I mean.
Those are the last month.
The minutes, we'll get that out.
As soon as you approve them on tomorrow.
Yeah. On the minutes, I read them, but I can't get them up there. I don't know what. I'm not even got that. But did you mention something about having a roll call vote rather than just the motion and second?
It needs to show the vote. It shouldn't just have the motion, because now we don't know if it really, whether it was approved or not, without the vote count. Just shows the motion.
Motion doesn't show second?
It shows a second, but you gotta have a vote on the motion overall.
Yeah.
So you gotta show
Motion
that
and second.
there was all four, there was a nay, there was,
So the roll call vote was something like.
well, you can put roll call vote. I mean, you can put roll call yays, but nothing's mentioned.
It just needs to show that it passed by whatever, or it failed by whatever.
And I replied back to you, that acknowledgement, it will be on those minutes.
So we tabling the minutes, what? Or we just,
I think this is a correction that you want for the next minutes to come out. Is that correct?
Yeah, for them to be corrected.
I make a motion to
Are
approve.
are you
Second.
want to refer to the consent, like this, for instance, this one, consent items review discussing about district coordinator contract. Chrissy presented, yada yada, Jerry said, made a motion, Viola seconded, but there's no.
Yeah.
And that was
It
vote
passed,
for-
right, got it.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Thank you, sir.
have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Should we put the motion for that?
I had something to ask you. We were supposed to vote on who's in what position,
Yes.
yeah.
and that's according to the law.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
When do you want to do that?
It'll be on the next meeting because you'll have to sign a bank card as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't even get too many people here. Damn thing work.
Okay, we know what you're thinking.
I'm gonna write you an instruction in the manual.
You can do it, Jerry.
I think that this, that's part of some things we need to have a discussion about and we need to do our executive session here. Thoughts and ideas
Okay.
about all of that.
Chrissy, they keep wanting me to go to iTunes and I don't know why.
He's gonna come get your tablet, Steve.
So please throw it away or something.
If you truly don't have to use it, we can print for you if you want.
We'll give that to somebody more intelligent than me.
I like print too, but I can rush away from it.
Oh, that's what I was trying to get, that screen there. Thank you.
So Ms. Project wants paper copies of it.
Do we have to do what?
Yes, I can print them all.
What's that?
To is just capability for framing. It's killing some trees, but there's a lot to be marked up.
And the other thing is once we get to that part, we should take it to safety and take.
You got the bank statement.
We'll try that part.
Yes. But yes.
There's one more in here.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what item are y'all on now?
We're fixing to go to financial review.
Okay,
Fix it.
thank you.
Fixing.
Fixing to.
No. I'll be able to, link that to be able to put minutes on it.
there.
For registration.
Yes, he has that capability.
Yeah, that was great. We don't want to watch your movies though.
I don't watch movies.
What do you want the agenda?
We're looking at the balance sheet.
Some of the short stuff. This balance sheet is really lacking in detail.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a lot more.
We've got a balance sheet, we've got a check register, we've got the accounts paid, and it's.
I do not have
all
those.
different.
That came in a different email
Okay.
to us.
Do you have a way to put the P&L up or the balance sheet up?
Yes, I'm trying to figure out.
Okay. So what we're looking at, I'm just gonna give y'all this information before we get it up on the board. Currently, we have $869,000, $940,869,940 in the bank, in our funds, and in our money market, our operating account, our sales tax account, and our savings account. We have a total liability of $50,000, which I'm not, that's probably one of the things you're asking for more detail on. And then retained earnings of $746,320 with a net income of $73,437. And I've got a lot of questions for the P&L that we received when we get to that.
Monthly statement, that's a bank statement, isn't it?
No, that's the actual full P&L.
Oh, okay. Again, that's.
She sent that to us at 12/17, if you got that, for the bank statements and stuff like that in there.
No.
And will that be posted on the website at some point? The financials, so we can see?
They should be. No,
They
Yeah,
should-
we do not have to post them on the website.
I understand that we don't have to, but
But
I think we should.
It's not there.
What do y'all think?
Is there a reason we don't?
It's not a law. They can request a copy, we give them a copy.
Okay.
but it's not,
Was
it's
there,
not.
was there any discussion here from the board to not do that? Or
I
is
think
this-
it was, the discussion was, prior to that, was because of the treasurer's report being incorrect. And bringing it, so we just took it off. and-
So instead of correcting it, we just said delete it.
Well, it used to just be a cash flow, really, within a financial report. So we just recently got to where we're using QuickBooks for financial reports. So I think this might be the third month.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't see a problem why we shouldn't put our financials in there.
At least some sort of expenditures or income and all those. It just, even if it's just a base income statement.
I wouldn't want to put our balance sheet on there.
Yeah,
Tell me which report you want, and I'll put it on there.
I don't know. Let us talk about that when we're in an executive session. We can figure that
That
out.
can be discussed.
It's not
We cannot discuss that.
executive session.
Only employee problems and talking to our attorney.
Okay.
Land, employee issues.
Yeah.
I think that's some sausage making that we want to make sure we're, okay.
So I have a question on the sales tax account. The bank shows that we've got $47 more than what's on the balance sheet.
I just received statements, so if, I just received these, because I don't get these electronically.
Are you not connected to?
I
Yeah.
just now got that. I had to have Tony call me to get them electronically so I can send them to you. Prior to that, I did not have access to that. I do now have access to that. But on your sales count, I just received 2 more deposits.
So can you tell me the breakdown on the accounts, just the 4 accounts that we're running? We have a money market account, security state, and we have 3 TXN's accounts.
Sure, hold on 2 seconds. Let me pull it up.
I just want to understand the reason for each of those and why, or what they're each is used for.
So you cannot have, the goal is not to have more than $250,000 in one account.
Well, we
Then
don't
if not, you
have-
have to cover insurance. But then you can't have a certain amount of money all at the same bank. So that's the reason for the money market through Security Bank, which is what got the most, was $363,000.
Is it statutory?
I believe it is.
I think it's just a safety standard, because what I want to talk about is someplace to put our money that's making more than $39 a
I
month.
think what you're talking about.
Yep. You just
Check
gotta
the
have,
cash.
you just gotta have a collateral.
Cash is being depleted every day, so we're losing it. And that's not our, I mean, it's, every day that we hold on to cash, it's going away, it's right out the window.
Well,
And
so
overspending.
let's clarify something. In the operating account, the bank statement shows 20,000 more in the account than the balance sheet shows.
So the balance sheet is going to show the checks that have been written that are not cleared yet as well.
You know, the dates too.
Are you reconciling these accounts?
If you go down to Pat, the reconcile is part of the statement. But if we write checks in December and they don't clear in December's bank statement, are still outstanding, that's going to show in my QuickBooks that I give you, not necessarily the bank statement. Am I correct to state that statement?
Correct. Your uncleared checks are gonna still hit your cash on your balance sheet.
So again, can we have more discussion about this, the four accounts? So what is the difference between, in use, what's the difference between the money market and the operating?
The operating account is where all of our tax money comes and all of our bills and payroll are paid out of.
So the operating account is where the county deposits money to us?
Yes,
Okay, and then that's where we pay
everything that we,
his salary, your contract, and
all of those.
the monthly stipend to, or monthly contract fees to Allegiance as well.
That is correct.
And does that also include things like cell phones, all the
That
other
is correct.
expenses, our regular standard expenses? Okay, so then the Security State Bank money market account, what is that used for right now?
It's nothing.
It's just a holding place
That is correct.
because we don't want to get our numbers too high in each account, is that the idea?
Yes, sir.
What is the sales tax account?
Sales tax is so was it last year or 2 years ago that we went after the sales tax? So we split the sales tax between ESD, the ESD2 and ESD5.
Okay, and so
So we
that comes in
sep-
from the state comptroller?
That is correct.
Got it, okay.
We separated it into 2 different accounts.
Understand that completely. Okay, and then the savings account, what's that, what's the purpose
Just
of
a
that?
savings account.
And we have that there because we have an abundance of cash flow, that we have too much cash flow.
It's historically,
It's what?
historically, that's how it was set up. There's no wiggle room.
Well, so there's only 2 accounts that are showing that we're actually getting anything interest-wise.
Right, money market and savings.
And so what, I talked to Chief Cook in the EMS4. He moved their money into this Texas class cooperative liquid asset security. He's making $15,000 a month in interest.
Right.
We're making less than a quarter of a percent.
We're not even making inflation on ours. We can't, not with a money market or a savings account, you're not gonna make any. We're literally losing money out of those accounts every single day. The buying power, it's the dilution of the vodka.
Part of it is also, you get cash on a regular basis, you need somebody to move cash on a regular basis, so. We never had a full-time employee till Jason arrived, so.
Yeah.
Now that Jason's here, we would need to delegate to him to have access to these accounts, so as cash comes in, he can shuffle the money to the different pools.
I'm not good for that.
I'm not okay with that.
That's what the fire department just did, and they got burned, and we got burned in the 90s, and we put protocols in place to stop that, and they decided not to follow those protocols. The problem with letting one person have access to everything is that you don't have multiple eyes on those accounts, and they can do whatever they want to do. I'm not saying anybody is going to be guilty of anything, but it happens. When you put a bag of money in front of somebody and you say, watch that bag, I'm gonna walk out the door. Some people have a tendency to want to do stuff.
So on our accounts, all I can do now is pull the bank statements, and that's the only access that I have to the account. I cannot withdraw money, I cannot transfer money, I cannot do anything. That requires you guys to really do that, or all I can do is pull the statement.
But we could certainly set up a system, I believe, that with approval, that expenditures could be made in the accounts, and that would all be recorded in the minutes.
Well, that's 2 separate things. So the Texas class is not a bank account where you can pay out of. It is just it's like a mutual money market.
You're saying the savings account?
It's like a savings account. It's just gaining higher interest.
That's the savings account is that, it's just a holding.
It's a Texas class.
Yeah.
So you can't write checks out of it. So
Sure.
somebody has to be able to, again, if we want to maximize interest and put all our money in there until checks need to be written and cleared, then somebody has to be able to.
Well, there's gonna be a certain level of a monthly amount that we need to gain. That's part of where I wanted to get to with what's our programmed expenditures? How much money a month do we forecast every month that we're going to be spending? And there's a regular amount. So say if there's
It shouldn't be much different than our.
I agree. Yeah.
Monthly savings.
So if the monthly amount that we normally have in there is like $50K that we're going to spend out, I'm just throwing a fake number out there. If $50,000 that we spend on a monthly basis to pay our obligations and on our expenses, then that's an easy one. That we maintain 50,000 into the non-interest bearing account, and to which we could delegate access to Jason as an employee. And then every month we could do that transfer. The treasurer, the assistant treasurer could do that transfer of money as we need in order to fill that account. And then if something crazy comes up, well, it's a phone call.
We could keep the checking account at $100,000 a month, and then put the rest of that stuff in something that's going to vary.
Exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So in the case where it comes up that we need to, hey, we projected we're going to be spending, or we know that every month we're going to need to transfer 100K. Every month, the treasurer and assistant treasurer can just transfer 100K over into that operating account, so that then the bills could be paid out on the regular basis.
And the law says that the president and treasurer have to be the ones that sign the check. And that's in, let's see,
I don't mind going and getting the check and taking it to you. to sign.
7.3, section 7.3 of the code for expenditures. Has to be signed.
Does it say they have to be signed, or does it say it has to be approved?
Have to be signed. Or there can be a,
All of our expenses are paid by check.
yeah.
No, that's not true.
Well, that's,
Back in the day, our Devine, because we don't meet until after, so the city of Devine is electronic because it's due on a certain day and we always meet after the day, so we're paying a late charge, so we set it up on automatic. And then Direct Energy is set up on automatic and AT&T. Those are the only ones that are set up automatically. The rest are all paid checks.
Statute, or are you looking at our
This here's the check.
operating manual?
No, this is state law. State law says that the expenditures have to be signed by the president and treasurer. If the president and treasurer are not here, then it's the vice president and the assistant treasurer.
Is that code specific to ESDs?
Yes, that's under 775.073, under expenditures.
Normally it's Juan and Tony, and if Juan's not here, then it's the vice president's gonna sign it.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to, so we don't have the authority to give that to somebody else.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm really nervous about one person. I like multiple eyes.
That's why, I guess that's where I see those controls are in place, those financial controls are in place, that if there's an expenditure to be made, then it would be part of our quorum that would make a decision to say, okay, and we have this bill coming in and it's gonna be at this thing, so anticipate, make that next.
Yeah, and that's what the county has their treasurer give a report each month, and it gives them itemized of what bills that they're gonna pay, and then the board as a whole votes to pay that, and then if I'm not mistaken, right, your treasurer then pays after y'all approve her to pay the items?
Treasurer and auditor.
Okay,
That's-
so when we can do that, but then we have to move our meeting because our bills are due at a certain time. And because we were not meeting the deadline, we're getting charged that $25 for a late fee. Like the city of Devine is due.
No, I agree with those being automatic, those are
Oh,
things that,
okay, I wanted to make sure, that was the only reason why we set those up. The recurring bills.
And do we have so that's an approved amount that's automatic that goes out, is there a not to exceed limit that we have?
Only,
I mean, we kind of know what our bills are gonna be, so unless there's a lot of extra showers being
this is
taken.
what I received once it's
Can
out.
I see that?
what's that?
The
So the only thing that is set on a set limit is the card from the
Does it
operation.
talk to?
So this is on the card, or we have a card on the account, so which one is it, on the operating account?
Expenditures.
And just one?
No, we have two, Jason.
So if
has
it's
one as well.
expenditures.
And what?
Jason has one as
Then
well.
surely we should.
Okay, and then-
Have
We
any
both have
kind
a
of direct
$500 limit
payment,
on our cards.
electronic.
And you have it?
I have.
So as a contractor, you're right now allowed to spend government funds?
Yes, if we.
Well, if they're saying they all
so
have to
prior
be signed by the
paper,
president
ink,
and treasurer.
I make your
All
hotel
expenditures, that's why I'm
reservations.
clarifying, he's saying expenditures.
But I have a
It's nothing
$500.
on you, we're not allowed that.
I have a $500 limit, anything over.
Well, no, we would have to come in every month.
Position
and-
having a contractor access automatic government funds is a recipe for disaster.
So we have to,
Okay.
well, we never formally have approved those.
That has nothing to do with Christie. It's a contractor. It's a
He
contractor.
doesn't pay
I don't
any of the
recall
bills,
formally
I get the bills.
approving.
So the only time I use the card is if I have.
But it's being done.
Or like your reservations we're going to talk about tonight.
Yep.
Put the credit card on your reservation.
I understand. Okay. That's a red flag for me. Okay, and I think that's something we need to review. Did you hear what she was just saying? So right now, Christie being a contractor for certain duties that we have here, currently has access to make government expenditures. Now we have an employee who's working for the ESD now, for the town, or for the district, that in my estimation it should be somebody who we have, because having contractors access to funds is a problem. That's just a problem, a big red flag. There's issues there. So the government employee needs to be making those expenditures, in my estimation. And any of those authorizations, it should be, because he's accountable to us. Technically, and again, this is not about personality, this is just the way it's set up. His position, the chief's position, is accountable to us. The contractor's position is is accountable to her contractor. And what that does, but just by the relationship that's there, we do have an employee who is fully accountable to the board. And I think that's, any expenditure should be run through our employee as opposed to having a contractor. And I understand that this is historical. There was not an employee here, it was a contractor. There's a big problem with having a contractor having access to government funds. No matter who it is, I don't care who it is. If it were me, I would not want to do it.
Probably need to get clarification, how do you get signatures on drafts? It really doesn't clarify how you would allow for drafts.
So,
Because it's pretty specific.
yeah,
It's signed by at least a majority of the board's commissioners, or is signed by the treasurer, assistant treasurer, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't say the board may authorize drafts for a specific vendor.
so what we did in the fire department was the board would approve that, and then the minutes would go to the bank showing that the board approved a draft from the account, and the bank would authorize the draft.
That monthly recurring bills you're talking about?
No, you're talking about like a draft if you're buying something?
No, I'm talking about the recurring bill.
Oh, recurring bills.
That's a draft. I mean, that's considered a draft.
Is the operating account online that can send out drafts from the bank itself? And like, can we do online checks?
No, or at least not on my count.
And who else has access to those accounts? Treasurer and the president?
Right now, it's just the two of them.
Okay.
Well, no, the former board member.
Or the four board members, yeah.
So this is where I think is the board needs to come up with their own policy bylaw in addition to state law. State law is always going to default to whichever is more strict.
Yeah, but that's already stricter than what we have.
Well, the state law should be less strict than our law, or our law.
That's, yes.
Well, we're still talking about finances. Do we have
Is it specific to just physical checks?
No.
Or is it just,
It says expenditures.
okay. So it could be electronic or physical check.
do we have bylaws?
Nothing.
No, it's just the state.
Okay.
We
Then I
probably need a
call-
meeting just on,
I called Polly to ask Polly, because Polly was here before I was, and she said no.
I would suggest a workshop, so it doesn't have to
probably
be
need
our
our attorney
lunch
to
meeting.
some guidance.
And you
Yeah,
can
that's
discuss,
down
you can discuss bylaws.
Yeah, I would hate to call Ken because he charges quite a bit of money.
But it's $60 a minute?
No, 60 minutes for every 15 minutes that we talk to him.
60 minutes for
The
every.
problem is, I don't know how to interpret that. Because
Yeah.
I interpret that means that really we can't do drafts. Everything needs to be a manual check because it wants a signature. It doesn't allow
Well,
for-
next month, we're going to ESP workshop.
Yes.
But if the access to present those drafts, if we were able to do it electronically, and the only people who had access to it were the treasurer and the president, according to this, then,
But those are wires. So
no, not necessarily, no. You send a check out from your bank account. When you pay a bill.
We can, but these are auto drafts out of our account.
Sure, I understand.
And those are the ones that I'm saying that we're not in compliant with that.
I would agree with you.
So we'll learn next month. We'll ask specific questions.
Yeah.
Is there a way the bank, that if there's an auto draft for the electric bill, that it can send you an alert and you can get it on your phone and just say approve or deny?
I'm sure there has to be, or that we would have those bills come in. It could be something that again, either the president or the treasurer during the week is just gonna have to do.
Already pre-approved. You're signing something to allow for it to happen, so they're not gonna ask for a second signature.
Which you can
What
send
do
about
other ESDs do?
I don't know.
I can tell you what ESC number 1 does, because that's where I've spoken to Polly. Polly has the day-to-day bills approved in the minutes to allow them to come out, which is the electric,
Right.
The gas, the trash, whatever, those are automatic withdrawals, that anything else has to be a check, which is exactly what we do.
But it doesn't talk to approval, it talks to signature.
Yeah, most ESDs, ma'am, and if it's a recurring expense every month, the board can choose to make a decision and vote for that recurring expense to be
Right.
auto-drafted. Any additional expenses need to go through the board. It's for
And I assume that's where we are at this point.
Which was discussed because
Yes.
we were being late on our bills. And those were the two that we were late.
But
The city of Devine just went through this. So I suspect we've got some tips and policies in place you could.
Well, this
apply
was
to
ESD
things.
specific though.
Yeah.
But that's why, I mean, go to the other ESDs, we've got several in, I mean, I don't know how many are there? 5 or 6 in the county?
we're getting charged a late fee?
Yes, because the way our meetings were, because everybody needed to work on the 2nd, so by the time we got them signed at the meeting and then put in the mail, they were late. So we have deadlines, like Direct Energy is due the 30th of every month. So if it comes in after the 30th, let's say we met last month, at the beginning of the month, we met at the,
But is that an
The 30th.
automatic draft
yes,
expense?
Direct TV, or
So
not
it
Direct
should-
TV, Direct Energy, City of Devine, and AT&T are the only ones that are automatic withdrawals.
So we shouldn't get any late fees on those?
And then, of course, payroll, but payroll's done on QuickBooks. Liabilities, everything is done on QuickBooks.
But again, it's still, she's still non-compliant with the language that's.
Correct, yeah.
And then if you do that, then somebody has to be available to pay Jason every 2 weeks.
So I guess what I'm trying to find out, is we're not having any late fees anymore, right? Okay, good. That's what I'm trying to find out.
There was absolutely no late fee.
Okay.
So can we move into the P&L? I apologize, I'm trying to catch up with everything that's going on here, so I've got lots of questions. Can we go to the P&L? You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I have some questions on the P&L here. So the comptroller of the public account, that's the sales tax revenue, the 12,600. What is the tax sales fee? The $12,000 that's being deducted?
I think that's the appraisal district fee.
Appraisal district, yeah.
It's just not titled.
That's what, do we pay that in
Yearly.
quarterly or?
You can pay it quarterly, but we've just, for the last 5 years, we've been paying it yearly. to get it.
So that's a total for the year?
Hold on, we pay the appraisal district every year?
Yes, because they collect our money.
They do the.
Oh, it's a fee for the services.
It's a percentage of what they collect.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cities, counties, ESPs, all of them
we all.
pay the residents.
You're talking about 12,009.
They gotta keep the lights on.
That's the appraisal office.
Okay.
They gotta pay their employees too much money that, and then they overcharge us on our,
So
oops, did I start?
years back, we changed it because most of our money comes in December and January. And December, January, and February, right? Is our most money come in? Those 3 months?
Tax collections.
Yeah, because they start penalizing you after
So we
January.
pay the bigger bills.
So that's the time of year that all of our primary income comes in. Is that right?
Correct.
General.
And then we get sales tax quarterly, correct?
Sales taxes every month. Every
Oh,
month.
is it monthly?
Yes, we get these statements every month.
Different checks.
Okay. Okay. My next question, it says district coordinator, $2,083.
So originally, that was when the reason why they discussed my contract last week. Originally, and it was a misconception as far as the 25,000. So last week, when you decided to move me back down to the 11,000, so this month is $950.
So that contract was signed on December the 11th. When was that check cut for you?
My check is cut at the beginning of the month. They signed it.
So-
It's in by law.
So I think I guess the concern that I'll say is that there was never an official approval to increase the payment to the district coordinator. There was a misunderstanding that it automatically happened because our budget had it in there for that amount. But unless we take formal action to grant those 3 months, 4 months, whatever it equals, to be $2,000, then we would be expecting reimbursement from Christie.
But wait a minute, did they sign the check?
I talked to Tony, yeah.
Or the check signed to you? Did
Yes.
board members sign the check?
Yes.
I don't see how, if y'all approved it, you signed it, how are we gonna go back and say you need to pay us the money?
No, I think they're liable.
No, last month wasn't, no, because you had discussed it at the last meeting. Last month was signed. Should have a check number on there.
But the previous month's that.
Yes. So if it's a case that you're questioning the automatic withdrawal, which was October and November, I even called Tony about December and asked him.
The December has ED on it.
Okay, then yes, I apologize. But I called Tony and asked Tony because it was a question that you brought up at November meeting. And he was under the same impression that I was. If you approve a budget and you put a budget line item, because I'm a separate line item, we assumed that it was 25. But when you discussed it last week, this week is 950.
So, again, I understand your concerns because we didn't have a contract in place. There is no contract authorizing the $2,000 payment. So we either gotta request a refund or we gotta approve the additional amount she was paid at a future meeting. Those are the two options, but take one of those options needs to happen as ordinance.
Right. Which is not on this agenda today. I just wanted to bring that up because I saw the contract for $950
Yes, so
and the expenditure for $2,000, and I'm wondering if the concern was that if those checks are signed, that means that we approved it.
Were they all direct deposits?
the 3 months, yes. And he approved the last December month.
Okay, so the other 3 months weren't approved yet.
The last October, November, yes.
October, November, December, Tony approved.
Who put the direct deposit in place?
It's been set up since.
No, who did it place?
Who increased it?
Okay.
Budget.
So when we did the budget in September, he asked me how much money that would do it. He wrote down 25,000. Years have been here and budgets. If you approve a budget of $25,000 for a single line item, I'm not mucked in with payroll, I have a single line item. They approved 25,000. So I went off of that budget and divided that by 12, $50,083. So that's what I was going. He brought it into December's meeting, or December's meeting, after I had already been paid. So this month is $950 because that's the contract that was signed.
So, and I understand Juan's concern because I've done budgets for 40 years. You put a line item and a dollar amount on that, that doesn't mean that you're gonna spend it. That's just, this is our cap. This is what
Yes.
we're capping it at this. And if it needs to change, then it has to come back to the board and it has to be approved for change.
So there was a misunderstanding.
She had already gotten 1 month's pay before it was changed.
No, she's done. 4 months? Or
3 months.
Oh,
January was $950.
You
because that's the
understand, this isn't an indictment on you. It's not at all. It's not, it has nothing to do with Christie. It has to do with
Okay, so-
us doing our job.
And I understand that, but, and I'm gonna be frank here. I called my president because my treasurer does not answer the phone.
Okay, but
So I called him and he approved
Listen,
the budget, and that was the reason why I did it last month.
don't feel like this is.
You did not call me.
Okay, please don't. This is not, it's our job to be fiscally responsible to them. And that's what we're trying to do. So if there was a mistake made,
It was a
we need to-
misunderstanding on
to-
how the budget was supposed to be.
we need to make sure that mistake is
So I think
reconciled.
what you're saying, Juan, is correct. We need to put this on the agenda for the next meeting and either fix it or whatever we as a board decide to do.
And again, and most of y'all have been here, and this is gonna be my rebuttal to the conversation piece. The $25,000 was put in the budget because we were going self-operated. And we understood Christie was gonna have more responsibility and more work. That did not come to fruition. By default, why would we continue to expect to pay Christie, and why would she expect to continue to get paid $25,000 for work that she was no longer gonna do?
Look, I'll ask you one thing, just, let's take the Christie out of it and say contractor.
Contract.
Yeah, please.
District.
This can't be personal, this isn't personal. This
Okay,
is
so
business.
can I rebuttal back to that?
I'll take it when we close
I'm gonna
session.
say this is a board meeting.
I understand.
You are a contractor. I am having discussion with the board.
So we need to, yeah, we're talking about contract order and the board and the relationship that's there. So there was a phone call, but this is something that we need to work out. And maybe that is something that, I don't know if that can go into a closed door session.
Actually, that can.
I think that needs to
It's
go to
not
that.
personnel.
It's not.
It's a contract. Just like any other contract.
See,
We hired a
there we go.
fencer, we hired a legion.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, the next one on here is, of course, we know that the internet fiber costs us $1,300 a month. And how many cell phones do we have that we're paying $2,100 a month for cell phones?
It's not the cell phones, it's the iPads.
Are we turning those iPads in?
We can't.
Well, it's,
would.
These are probably part of the purchase agreement. You bought the device with the whatever.
did we purchase the devices outright?
No.
No, sir.
So we're on a rental?
We're on the
It's
AT&T
it's just like your phone, right? iPhone.
No, my phone is, I buy my phones.
Yeah, but you can buy your phone.
I buy my
And-
phones.
But if you get into that 36-month contract, it's similar to that.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Oh. So we have cell phones that are, and iPads that are unused that we're hanging on to because of the previous direction we were running. And
So the only reason we're hanging on to them is because we're still obligated to make the monthly payment?
I understand, yeah.
Yeah, unless y'all decide to pay them off, they'll get terminated.
Can
Is
we,
that correct?
can we not instruct Jason to contact AT&T and see what it takes to break the contract?
No, because I'm the only one that's on the account. I can add him to the account.
Well, I understand that, but I also understand that as the contractor, you've had a lot of responsibilities before the EMS director / chief has been in place. We've got to start giving him the responsibilities of taking care of the
I agree.
TSD business.
Any fiscal responsibility
That's why I
should not
said
be
I
with
can
the
add it to the
contractor.
account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you all agree with that?
Yeah.
So do we need to make a motion for that, to transfer those, all that, anything fiscal, yeah, at least redundancy?
It's not on the agenda.
Okay,
But we can instruct him to look at what it would take to break the contract.
yes.
Yes.
So, are we reviewing your job description, I believe?
Yeah, that's the next item.
So the job description, if we put it in there, then by default, it's part of the job.
Yeah.
So, I already got an answer on that. The travel and expenses, somebody reimbursed us $10?
It was the Omni Hotel. They charged,
Reimbursed us $10, all right, I like that.
I don't know why.
And then public relations, we got $75 back. Do you know what that is?
They just thought you were really handsome and you were coming on.
They were blind as a bat and
Stand by.
Where is that?
So, go ahead and check with Ken. Whether the contractors can go on the call, I'm pretty sure it's If what?
They were employees.
If we can take contractors into close.
well, you did it 2 months ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because
When Ken was here,
when we did.
they both were in your executive session.
Yeah, when and did allegiance, we did stuff, but I don't know if that has to do with, I don't know, that's what I'm saying, personnel is usually truly personal matters. So,
I don't know, Judge, what do you think?
You need to check with your attorney. I cannot advise the ESD.
There's that $60 a minute.
And you know what he's gonna say?
They like to
Depends.
do it for 30, right?
what are we on?
We're still on, trying to get a
Financial approval.
approval of the financial report.
I'm going to abstain on that one because I have not had time to review all of it. Just, I mean, it's first time running through here.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion, and I need a second.
Yeah, I'll second it since I'm here.
Discussion, I would like to have in that motion, I realize it's made and seconded. The discussion is the district coordinator, we need to review that dollar amount in the next meeting.
Okay.
I'd like that added to the minutes.
We'll go to the next.
So we'll get that on next agenda.
Who seconded it, I'm sorry?
Jerry,
Thank you, Dennis.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Did you abstain?
I'm abstaining, yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to review, discuss, and approve the EMS chief's job description with amendments.
So the red flag for me on that one is the supervision of the contractor staff.
Yeah.
That's an absolute no-go.
We kept going back and forth on that.
Yeah, it just can't happen. The contractor is required to provide supervision to their personnel, and our job needs to be to evaluate the contract, or his job needs to be to evaluate the contract and ensure that the contract is in compliance, not to supervise the employees that are there. That's a no-go, absolutely,
Which one are you talking about?
It's the addendum on here.
The addendum.
On the backside?
First amendment to agreement,
I don't know what you
yeah. Now, there's a level of, monitoring responses, coordinating or assisting with training, but it's really, the contract spells out exactly what Allegiance is supposed to provide. And us sticking our nose in there is,
Basically, he's a liaison. And
He's a-
should a problem arise, he's just more or less a conduit.
I'm the first point of contact
Yeah.
if something happens, and then I can relay any issues to Allegiance.
absolutely.
But as far as-
That's the way, that's where all of this day-to-day oversight came from. Because I'm here every single day and Allegiance management is not.
That's an issue for Allegiance. There's a contract there. The contractual requirement is that Allegiance provides all supervision to the personnel. Now, as your position, absolutely needs to be in contact day to day with the Allegiance leadership.
Well, they do have supervision every day. It's just not physical on site.
Well, what Allegiance did was they authorized, if I'm not going to speak out of turn here, they authorized Jason to be their supervisor for their people.
Yeah, nope, that can't happen. That cannot happen.
I don't know if the wording on that is not a supervisor in the manner of handing out disciplinary action or anything like that, right? The point to that
Providing
is,
direction, day-to-day direction is not the
Right.
ESD's, not the district's responsibility, that's,
agreed 100%.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, and I apologize for those of you who don't know, my name is Amanda Baum, I'm a regional vice president with Allegiance Mobile Health. From my perspective, it's more of if Jason has an issue with one of those employees, that he reports it back to us so that we can handle that. We allow our other EMS chiefs to determine, hey, I don't want this employee to be working in this house, and then we move the employee out.
yeah, great.
And so that, from my perspective, when I think of supervisory from this relationship, is that, not direction and disciplinary action. Those
What this amendment has is a lot of physical direction, you will do this. Absolutely right. His position is our representative.
Right.
Our day-to-day representative to our contractor. The chief here, the chief's position is, and his level of education, experience allows him to make those evaluations on people. If he sees something and goes like, whoa, then that's a quick phone call. Hey, your guy here, XYZ, and here, missed this on the contract, maybe training's not there, whatever it is, and I have to do record this
Right.
as a contract discrepancy. Hey, we need to make a correction here. And so if his position is the one who's in charge day to day with the employees of the contractor, then that sets up a terrible situation, because he can say, hey, Joe, I want you to XYZ, and y'all didn't want that guy to do
Right.
that
Yes.
because it violates contract. And you guys are like, whoa, that's gonna cost us extra money. That's gonna somehow violate the contract. You guys supervise your employees, do a great job. No, I don't have any issue with it personally, but his job is to evaluate the contract
Right.
and run the office administration. It's not to supervise, yeah, hey dude, I want you to go do X. Yeah, and we need to be very clear about the roles and responsibilities there, because otherwise we're gonna get in trouble. And y'all won't be happy, we won't be happy, is when we start intermingling this stuff,
So evaluating performance, patient care,
you should be evaluating performance of patient care. And maybe we need to,
it may just be a change in wording, because that's the gist.
and you showing up to a call, great. You showing up to a call and going, good job guys, good job here, good job here. And if there's a problem, you don't say, unless there's, life or death. If there's a problem on the call, if it's life or death, you say, whoa, 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 keep this person alive. Otherwise, it's, hey guys, I got a problem with Joe, here's what he did, and we need to make sure this is right.
And that relationship between us and Allegiance has been working very well. In fact, there's been several calls that I've responded to, and the crews are like, oh, thank God you're here, right? Because I'm an extra set of hands, I'm an extra brain that they can say, hey, I'm thinking this, what do you think, right?
That's a sticky wicket right there.
It's not a direction.
It's
It's not giving a directive.
So what that tells me is, oh, well, is your training,
He's responding under our FRO.
completely?
It's the same.
Same protocol, same method directive.
Yeah, if they're coming to you and saying, hey, what do I do here? Then that shows that there's a relationship.
Okay, hang on.
What do versus what do you think are two different things.
Yeah, where he's going with that is, I operated an ambulance that had 2 paramedics on it, and we bounced ideas off each other constantly.
Sure,
saying,
yeah.
hey, help me think outside the box, help me think of, did I miss something? That was a constant thing. They operate with an EMT and a paramedic, so he is a paramedic, so they can help each other think outside the box, because sometimes that patient is not going to be there.
Taking care of the patient is number one.
Right.
But maybe we need to capture somewhere in here that we need to capture is when you have those instances, okay, this is a training thing, and it's an honest we didn't violate anything, but here's a training thing we saw, and we want to make sure your people can get better and that we can provide better service.
And so that's where it comes back to the training, right? As of right now, it's like, well, Allegiance has their own in-house training. It's like, well, I'm perfectly capable of doing training. It's just, I've built a career on it, right?
Sure.
It's an extra resource for those that are here.
I'm with you.
So,
But they have a contractual obligation to provide those things to them. Now, if they want to come in and have their folks in training that we're putting on, that you're going to do potentially, and it's a regional, hey, open it up to all.
right.
Hey, we're going to do this thing, and there's a payment or whatever it is, whatever, even if we're doing it for free as a community service, then great, send them to the class. But you're not in charge of their training.
No.
And they have to be in charge of their own people. They have to be able to take care of their own people.
Sure.
And do with them what they want. If they want to send them to Bear County, you're going to Bear County, dude. You know, whatever.
So, one of the things I would like to bring up, because in the protocols and in our agreements, Allegiance does have the right to ask anybody to ride along with them if the medic feels that they need assistance on a transport. It's common industry thing. They have a critical patient, hey, your care provider, can you ride with me? Just for help.
Sure.
Usually, that just gets documented in the narrative, hey, firefighter Joe, Schmo, whoever assisted in transport. My question is, because we are an FRO, we do not transport, period. They are the transport provider. Does the board have an expectation of me to do a patient care report if their crews ask me to ride along?
I don't know, that's a highly technical piece of it that I don't know.
I'm gonna ask Amanda and the 2 paramedics that are on the board.
In San Antonio, anytime somebody touched a patient that was not on an ambulance, the firefighters, first responder, whatever, a PCR has to be generated.
True, but there are.
If you're with them, y'all arrive at the same time, we never ask for, they never put a PCR in.
So there was an instance last week, crew had a call, they actually picked me up here at the station and I jumped on with them.
Okay.
It's not an actual response from me, but I did a ride and assist. They're already doing a patient care report.
Right.
So they can just document in the narrative, hey, Jason rode with us. My question is, do you want an ESD report, patient care report, an RFRO saying I rode with you?
I can understand it. If you show up at a call first, you get to the call by yourself first, you gotta write something.
Which
If you're riding with an existing
they should already be.
PCR in place,
I think certainly if there's an issue for you when you're there,
yeah.
that you record that somehow and
Document something, then that becomes-
you provide that, yeah, and
It just
just,
becomes a separate incident.
not bad. I mean, not bad, not good. If there's something that happened, you keep that on your side, but if a
Yeah,
certain.
remember, the good is important too.
Right, yeah. So,
The people following is an important
that
thing,
brings me to another thing, we can talk about that.
but, yeah.
And I
I just want to get
think,
better.
I think in ESO, we can add you as a crew member, like we can add students and other people, so we
Yeah, you
can
should
document
put first responder.
that, yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll be documented pretty well in our EPCR, and then we can always share that back if you need it. So I think that is will cover you, because from my perspective, the biggest thing with the PCR is litigation, and all of those things. You want to make sure that you have documentation that you were on the call, that you have, right? So if we're documenting it on our side specifically that you rode with, then that would give you that access to all of that. Pretty sure.
And obviously, if you go on a call and you're like, this potentially is gonna be a lawsuit, then
Yeah.
you keep your own.
Put your tie on and. Sure.
Yeah, I like that.
Because as you well know, 7 years from that day, they'll pull you into a courtroom and start asking you what happened.
Yeah.
And through more.
Yeah.
Wrongful death is usually 20 attorneys in a 4-hour.
Yeah.
That's a major one, and then as far as duties and responsibilities go for the chief, for me, it was cannot supervise the contracted staff, liaise with the contractor supervision, leadership, and
And the last one,
evaluate.
the last one there,
What's that?
if he relays a concern to Allegiance, then the last one, this last bullet under it says initiates internal investigation. He don't need to do that. He's not an investigator. He just lets Allegiance know if there's a problem and washes his hands.
Which one is that, 13?
Well, I think that needs to come back to us though too.
No, flip it around.
Where are you at?
I don't have the back page.
He's on end of responsibility. You're talking about the one that says initiates internal investigation as required on personnel misconduct, yada, yada, yada there?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then the very beginning, we'll report all investigation to the Legion Director and/or operations and ESD commissioners.
So it shouldn't say investigations, it should say incidents. Because I'm not going to do an investigation of their employees, that's their obligation. But I should notify them and the board if there's an incident involving an employee or a crew.
Well,
or
if you go up to 2 bullets where it says report any situation, that ought to cover it.
Yeah,
So let's scratch the last one, that initiated, just scratch it.
yeah.
There's some other things that I've got concerns with. So On it, it says his immediate supervisor is the board of directors. So are we gonna be, that, Jason had mentioned this a couple meetings ago. If he has 5 people that are gonna be telling him different things at different times, I think we should make it so that it's either a board member that he reports to, or that we as a group make a decision and we don't go to him and say, this is what I want you to do today.
I agree with that, yeah. Because that's too many people calling in conflicts.
I'm not gonna call it.
You guarantee?
I guarantee you.
I tried to give him a key to the station, and he told me no.
No, yeah. Well, what if that were to say the board president or is that too much?
I would make a recommendation that it's at least 2 positions.
I think common sense protocol and job description is enough. Anything else that he needs to know, find out at a meeting.
Yeah, as far as that goes, I would hate to have 5 bosses.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Usually, the president is the person that any employee orders, CFO, CEO.
Which
Shouldn't there be a backup if he needs something, a decision or a question in a hurry?
Well, then it's the vice president.
Have 2 people he can
That's
call.
the chain of command.
Yeah.
For all boards.
So the chief then reports to the president.
President and vice president.
And then the vice
And vice president in his or her, in lieu of. I think that's great. The other one that really is coming up for me on this one is the redundancy with what you do and having the ability, the access, everything else to have what you do in case of the tragic blood accident. We know operationally, if he goes down, Allegiance is still going to be able to have at least a 90% solution on operations. And people are going to get care, the community's going to get taken care of. We know that's going to be okay if like I said, the tragic life accident, he's gone. Okay, that operational side is good, and you have the administrative side right now.
You got more than one page to this.
Yeah, there's a backside.
It's just the addendum for provision.
I don't know, don't page. Damn computer.
It
So-
says amendment.
So the piece of that is to have, that you need to have access to everything that she does and knows, and so that you can be that backup and understand. And in addition to that,
What do you do? What do you push?
because you're evaluated, you will be our representative for contract evaluation. Administer your contract and make sure you're meeting your contract requirements. You're doing the allegiance, you're doing hers as a representative of the board, the day-to-day representative of the board.
So the other things that I have a problem with in here is that it says that he reports all stuff to the board and/or the district administrator. Again, anything that he has to report to our contract employee needs to come out of here because he is our full-time employee.
It's flipped, it needs to be flipped. He is ours and we hired him. He is an employee of the board or of the district. And as such, he represents the board day to day and does the evaluation of allegiance and as well as the administrator contract or the coordinator, district coordinator, doesn't it spell? District coordinator, the coordinator contract, which means that he needs to be able to know everything that you do it. And again, the tragic blimp accident happens.
I give him all the access to all the vendors. I'm not comfortable with giving him the QuickBooks because I'm ultimately responsible with the auditor with the QuickBooks. So is the treasurer can have access to the QuickBooks, but I'm not comfortable giving him because I have to explain to the auditor.
You can give him viewing. In QuickBooks, you can determine as the administrator that he can either view or he can change or whatever. All you have to do is give him viewing ability. Same thing that you would give to the assistant treasurer, the president. We all should have viewing ability to see QuickBooks so that we know daily if we want to look at it, we can see the dollar amounts.
Can you do that on a
that are in it.
desktop one? I thought that was only online.
No, it's both. I was in QuickBooks for the fire department for 30 years.
Hold on a second. You're saying that the auditor holds you financially responsible for?
So when we do an audit, I sit down with the auditor. I
Okay,
give
hold
him
on,
the-
but do we have you responsible if something is wrong with the,
Well, I would
with
assume.
with the books? And I mean that, I mean financially liable. That's not good for you.
I'm covered under the insurance just like everybody else is, under the insurance as a contractor with the books. But he's not gonna be able to answer if I'm putting something in the books. So the auditor and I work hand in hand together, and so Juan does too, because Juan has to sign the tax papers, everything. Juan does that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is you can authorize anybody as a user to be able to view
See, I don't know
QuickBooks.
how to do it.
I know how to do it, I'll show it to you.
But I still come back to,
Because it's my inputting.
you're doing the inputting, correct, but as the contractor, you're working with the auditor, but or would you be, again, are we putting you at risk by saying that you're the one who's responsible for?
Well, I mean, ultimately, the board is responsible for the audit.
So if the board is responsible for the audit, then what would be the problem of having
Because he can go in and change it.
well,
That's why he's saying viewing. I'd be the one doing all the entries.
can you
so-
track the changes and who made the changes?
Yes, but you don't want to give,
I understand that, yeah.
so
So what do you think is the best situation? I understand QuickBooks, what's the best situation to handle?
to allow view.
Okay,
So that he knows, hey, these budget items, where I'm at on the budget on a daily or weekly basis when he, for maintenance or whatever, to make sure that he's compliant in whatever we set as a budget item. Because we're gonna give him authorization to take care of building maintenance and.
yeah, and I guess that's where I see is that we shouldn't be tasking you. I bet you, we can't task you to do things. We can task him, and then as a contract evaluator, contract administrator, that he can go to you for that stuff.
Now that we have Jason, really, how I would recommend it be is Christy should be the bookkeeper, meaning Jason should give her all the bills, all the payments made. She keeps the records of it for the financial preparation,
Yeah.
right? And then she can give Jason the reports, or she can give it to us directly, however that needs to be. But if we're all in agreement, Jason's gonna get the financial aspect, then we don't want Jason to do both. We don't want him to do the check keeping and then the bookkeeping. So Christy would be the bookkeeper from the standpoint of what QuickBooks has for our records.
Right. So and that would entail reconciliation, accounting, making sure that, and then preparation of those documents. We need to look at your contract to make sure we can.
That contract
do
is,
that, yeah.
that's a crazy contract. Anyway, but I like the idea of having multiple eyes look at, it keeps people honest. I'm not saying anything against you. I'm saying the fire department trusted somebody, they got burnt.
They did.
And with multiple eyes watching what's happening, that's not what happened there, but it keeps people honest.
And it seems to me that the reporting on it from the contractor should be going to the chief, the full-time representative. And then if there's any issues there, hey, I don't see this isn't right, can you review this, walk me through this? And then at that point, then the full-time employee is the one who's going to present that to the board.
So I don't talk to the president, I have to talk to Jason.
Or agenda purposes.
I think, I'm trying to protect you.
And I get that.
And I'm trying to put the stuff in the right place because we do have a government employee. So we certainly need the services, but we can't hold you accountable. And
What if,
I can, because I'm the one that's doing the bookkeeping.
what if,
the only way we can hold her accountable is to terminate a contract.
okay,
And that's it.
Steve, what if those two positions were combined into one? And we had one person.
That would take away the redundancy piece and the fail-safe, again, the tragic blimp accident. If someone said, if Christy gets in a horrible accident, God help her, and is not able to perform her duties, he can still do it. He can still handle it, or we could work the piece of it between the treasurer and, so the redundancy piece is vitally important in this case, in my mind. Again, the operational side, the redundancy's there. Allegiance has got it. We got an 95% solution. They got it. People are gonna get care. It's the administrative stuff that we don't have a backup on. When we don't have backups, then we have failures. And I don't want us to fail. I want to make sure that we're good and that we can put those reports in. So I just think having access for both people, putting it in one position, I don't know.
I think that's something that we should discuss, and I really think that some of our discussions should go into we should have workshops. You know, if we're not gonna do a quorum, have 2 board members and the chief sit down and have discussions. Because my understanding is that this got made without his input, after we already hired him.
That's true.
So
I did not have access to the jobs.
we're giving him a job description that he's, we've already hired the guy, so he should be part of.
Well, let's remember, the job description was different because it was gonna be a operation.
Right.
We then remodeled the job description to try to incorporate what he was gonna do as the administrator over Allegiance for the board.
Right.
So that I would have thought you would have some input on because you were here when that was happening.
When it was being discussed, he was here. Viola's the one.
When
that-
y'all discussed it, but I didn't have visibility, I don't even know what it says.
Yes.
Oh.
And when I asked for a copy of it, I was told not until it's approved.
Who created?
Viola.
Okay.
The only thing I did to it was add the amendment that was, that came from Allegiance.
Yeah.
So,
Because I did it on my computer, remember last
Let's
year?
table it again, let Jason go look at it. Add financials. We gotta take off the language about him having authority to pay bills, because we've already reconciled that that's probably not what's gonna happen. Where he has
I make a motion that we table this until the next meeting and discuss it further.
I would like
But in a workshop form?
Yes, in a
Yes.
workshop form.
Workshop format?
if we can select 2 board members and myself to do a committee.
I'm retired. I'm retarded.
Hashtag me too. Huh?
You just need 2.
Oh, it's only.
Jerry's like this.
I can be there as well. I can do that.
Well, it's either.
Do you
It
assign
can
it?
be 2.
Yeah, so it was, if you guys need it, if there's somebody else who really feels passionate about
I
it.
just feel like paramedics input is pretty important,
Okay.
so.
We can do it, yeah. Are you good? I'm good with that.
I'm good. I guess I can work with this guy.
So do we have a motion?
Does he get to vote?
Did you say motion?
Does he get to vote on his job
Whether he wants to work with Patrick?
That we,
I don't have voting authority.
okay.
Aw.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Opposed, same sign.
He gets to vote where he can say, I don't want this job anymore. This sucks, you guys are putting too much crap on me.
What the hell did I sign up for?
Just to
Okay,
clarify,
so-
who's the workshop committee? It's Pat and Steve.
Okay, yeah, thanks, that's really good. So we've got, Natalia.
And we have, are they still here?
He's asleep.
We have the mayor and the city councilman in the side.
So can I go first on this? So,
I know nothing about it,
so my biggest, I guess, thought on this piece of property being at the station is, it is not but 7 minutes away from here.
Yeah, but in the response areas, it's 7
Well-
minutes.
So when we talk about the areas that take us the longest to get to, why wouldn't we look for property situated maybe further north in our district than putting a station that's almost right on top of this station. I know it's free, and that's great, but I don't see how it adds quality of service at the end of the day to our community members that are still furthest away.
Is that the reason that we're talking about this?
No,
Because it's-
no.
Are we not in service obligations? Are we
Well, it's so,
doing a requirement?
we had started looking at a second station for Natalia.
Okay.
After going through the whole allegiance and self-op, I started thinking more closely about this station and what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, Natalia is number 2 on the list as far as the number of calls.
I understand, but again, we have our district that goes south, west and east, and then we have north up into parts of Lytle. And we're just putting a station sort of in the middle, or like I said, 7 minutes away from us versus, I guess, getting further separation to service quicker to our outermost areas.
Do we have a problem meeting service times right now?
To those areas sometimes.
We do?
We're not out contractual obligation, but it does take longer. And it's not so much response time to the city of Lytle that's an issue, it's the parks and county roads north of Natalia, outside of Lytle,
Which is where
a lot of our district is.
Kind of call for all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the property was already a done deal when I came in, but if I was gonna give a board advice, if you're looking at a second station, I would put it farther north than the city of Natalia. Now, I can't pull specific call volume in that area. It's something I can work with Allegiance on, and Pat can do. It is a possibility. I just don't have that at my fingertips.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it has to be all the way to the north end of our district,
Just
but maybe
between
to the
Natalia.
north side of Natalia versus, I guess this is sort of on the south side.
Downtown.
It's downtown.
It's in the
Between the
middle.
fire station and the.
Well, I mean, we're so close to Natalia, it's hard to be further away, so.
So, sorry, Jason, I can pull a heat map from our CAD
That's what I was gonna ask for, yeah.
That would be great.
So we can touch base,
Perfect.
and I can pull a heat map, so you can actually see all of that call volume. Maybe even, I'll play with the system to see how far back I can go in our old CAD system, and that'll give you a better idea of where you need to have a
Yeah,
station.
as far as you can.
So that was my first comment. The second comment is, I mean, we started talking about building a whole new station similar to this, maybe a little smaller. At the end of the day, we're still only having 2 trucks. Why can't it just be a mobile home or a portable building with some bedrooms for our drivers to sleep? Because I think that's the
So-
main thing.
I did some research, which I gave to Viola when she was the vice president, and the board was talking about this. We had multiple conversations about architects and RFQs and all of that. Under the legislative statute, as a government entity, we do not have to go out on an RFQ and get an
That's
architect
what Viola presented.
unless it has to either be RFQ an architect or an engineer. If you bought a metal building kit, they're pre-engineered, there's no need for an architect, and then you just hire a contractor to set it up. My
on the inside.
suggestion would be, you can get a good sized metal building about this size, anywhere between $20,000
That law will support that.
and $50,000. The question I don't have an answer to is if there's a city ordinance against a metal building.
Well,
But you can hire a contractor to finish the inside.
I hear what you're saying. My sense is she can provide us a heat map and where our call volume is, and if that's a good placement, if Natalia's helping, and they're wonderful, but if.
But we never looked, it was just sort of, hey, the city has an opportunity, let's use it.
I looked
Talk about
at a
it.
couple of properties, but they were $180,000. And so when you have somebody offering to give you something for free.
Yeah, but then we have to build $1 million building, so it's like.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
I don't understand, but, you know, again, I'm all the time, because I'm married too,
Yeah.
as well. When we entered on this discussion was us. The property's very valuable to us, I tell you. That property is a great location. One of the things is, we saw the ambulance parked across the street all the time with the fire department. Always parked over there. It was always going in and out. As council member goes, what can we do to help? How can we help you? Because y'all are gonna buy the property. You know, we can sell that property all day long, but we have a police department right beside it. We have the fire department right across the street from it. It's right at the school. It's right on 35. I mean, it's like that. When your ambulance leaves, they're one direction, it's a perfect location. We thought about building a police department, for other things there too. We never stipulated, nor do we want to stipulate what size building. If you want to put a smaller metal building with a 2-room on it or whatever, we don't care. We were looking at trying to make it more comfortable for your employees, your ambulances, instead of staying in that little bitty tiny, and I'm not knocking the fire department, they're helping. But get your little better location, okay? Something you can have and do. We're not asking for any type of special building, anything else. We were just trying to help out, to give you an opportunity, because it is a great location.
Yes.
7 minutes to y'all is a lot, okay? To me, it means even more, okay? Because I've been on that bad side, okay? My life was saved in less than 7 minutes, okay? More than once. So I understand what you're looking at. But if you just put a small building there, we're okay. We're offering to furnish water, we're offering to furnish, help out with all the stuff to help you put it there. We're willing to absorb that cost. We're willing to help out. So again, we just hope you look at it from, we want to help you. If helping you is doing nothing, then that's not, we'll do that too. But that property really is designed and set up as we have it in the town to be more for emergency services purposes. The fire department's probably not moving anywhere anytime soon. Our police department's not moving anywhere soon. But location for us. That may be not your picture, and I understand that. And I think the whole county does. But we were with the Viola, I guess, 4 or 5 times in the last, it's been about a year and a half, 2 years. Probably 2 years.
2 years.
So all we want to do is kind of figure out what we're doing with the property, because we're fixing this community center, the other projects that are going on. We kind of know ahead of the ball game. Are we still in this with you? Are we still, going to do something that's just a 1-room, 20 by 20 building? Or if it's nothing, so we can move on, and because our first intention is to help our community, help anybody, not just ours, but, so that's what it is. So when you look at that, please look at your time frame. That's very important. I agree with all of you there. How you're gonna rescue and save somebody. That's your job. But access and affordability, free of charge is pretty dang good.
Yeah.
No bills, very few bills go to that property. We're willing to absorb it.
It'd be nice if the city of Devine gave us no bills.
Right. So that's a pretty good deal. And we do that because, again, we have that little community that everything's stuck right there in Italian. All the schools there together, everything's together. So that's all, because we're talking is and day-to-day, but it's more with Viola. It's been about 1.5 to 2 years. So that's why we were asking to kind of reapproach it, because we get some timelines on the agreement. But never did it stipulate, or nor do we want to stipulate what you're going to put there, unless it's just something horrible we don't foresee,
I think that their heat map will end up showing that the majority of the calls are in that battalion.
Absolutely. I think when we saw it on
We start
paper.
here and there.
The last few months that Pat's reported, he's even made that comment that it's very close between Devine and Natalia. The call volume is very similar. So it's not like Devine or Natalia have a greater abundance of calls over the other. They're pretty close.
And please don't get me wrong.
No.
My statements had nothing to do with
No,
the
and I
city
respect that.
requiring us to do all
Ours
this.
is just, we want help. When we saw it advertised for buying property, and we saw y'all using that building, and said, okay, we got something. We've been there, nothing been used for 50 years. That's all it was.
I agree.
It's a good location for emergency stuff and doing that. Again, we're willing to help out. So again, if you do nothing with it, believe me, it's not gonna hurt our feelings. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did something with it.
My only concern is that if we approve it, the clock starts. You've got timetables in there, and I agree that we need to look at and make sure that if we're gonna do this, because we have to have a building up, we've gotta have by time frame, and I hate to say yes to something and then find out Oh, we're not in the right.
Yeah, and nowhere, please understand, I don't want to speak for the council mayor. Well, nowhere they want this to affect anybody that they get lesser service. This is how it's.
Oh, no,
We
this
must
is
do whatever
a
we
blessing.
can.
It's a blessing to the ESD to do that. Because the city of Devine used to absorb the cost for water, garbage and all that, and they don't do that anymore. So it is a blessing.
But again, first building wise, if it turns out that way, we're just asking for something to be engineered and designed properly, no size and stuff like that. But if it doesn't work out, what's best for the people's lives and save people, that's what we want. So, you know, again, I know Tom said that more than once our meeting, but really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Those were the only 2 points I wanted to share.
So I think that's,
I'll work with the Legions and get a heat map.
that's wonderful, yeah. That'd be great. I think that's a way to go. It may tell us we're not even supposed to be here. I'm serious. It may say we're not, this is a bad place.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it could. I think it's going to show that Natalia is a lot of runs in Natalia. I remember those days. Remember Tony? Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Who made the motion?
One.
You seconded it?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Jerry's up. Okay. We kind of threw this at the fan last week or last month about the homestead exemption for, a blanket homestead exemption for those in ESD4. I went and spoke with ESD1 and he gave me the particulars on what needs to be done. And like I said last month, we can have an election, only cost us about 20 grand, or this board can vote on it. Don't cost us nothing. They proposed it, and without any problems, they, and I suppose that we ought to mirror their numbers, that we look at a general homestead exemption of 20 grand, $20,000.
Were you able to talk to the tax office
Yeah.
to see what the impact would be?
Don't matter what it is, you figure it out right here if you know what your tax rate.
So when you say 20,000, that says if your house is worth 100, you're only gonna get taxed at 80,000.
Right.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And that would be the one that would be the blanket, the exemption.
For all homes?
I like your.
For the
other-
one asking?
Yeah, for school and all that other stuff. So that would give some relief to those that are living on a fixed income. Some of the elderly, but that's the next item. But in my opinion, I think we ought to look at a blanket homestead exemption. And I know that the other ESD is looking at it as well. And if we're going to try to go out here and get the community to support a tax increase so that we can look at going full-time, self-sufficient, whatever you want to call it, I think this would be a good faith gesture to show them we've got them in mind. So if you need a motion, I'll make it.
Well, I guess I'll just, again, I would really like to see some hard numbers on what both impacts are, because one, do we need to bid out this coming year, or do we have renewals left on y'all's contract?
I think we just renewed, didn't we?
Well, we just
don't have to bid them out.
Well,
You can look at the book right here.
but are y'all gonna want to renegotiate, I guess would be my question.
I mean, whenever the contract term is over, there's always a negotiation period, not necessarily meaning that it would be a negotiation of a higher cost or anything like that. I mean, we don't typically, unless something drastic changes, there's not normally an increase.
Well, this would be, I guess, pretty much everybody at this table except Tony's experience with the renewal and what that means as far as increases. And that would be my concern is if we
Right.
reduce our revenues, then Allegiance came back with higher rates. I want to just cover
Well, we're
whatever.
gonna have to be a little bit more conservative, aren't we?
Well,
I think, Jerry, I think with the numbers that you put out last month, I figured that exemption would be 40,000 less for the district,
in total,
just for that exemption.
the general.
Yes. By the numbers that, because there was only like, you said 4,000 people had homestead exemptions. on their house.
4,500.
That's crazy. I don't know why there's not more, but yeah. If you do that, with the figures that he was talking about, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000.
Now, what you have realized in the past couple of years that you didn't have before is the sales tax revenue. So if we're looking to,
It won't be much. I'm sorry, I don't know that 40,000 is, we have roughly 4,000 homes.
20,000 divided by 100 times.
No, we have roughly 4,000 homes, or 4,000 homesteads, is that correct?
4,567.
So it's not gonna be 40,000. It would be substantially less than that.
So you take 20,000 divided by 100 times our tax rate.
What is the tax
And that
rate?
would be the impact times the number of homesteads.
Yeah.
What is the tax rate?
0.047.
7280.
Something like that.
No, because we're not, ESD is not collecting $1,000 per home, or per homestead.
So I figured out how you just submitted.
$81,
$81, right, that's what I'm saying. So it's, your number is 1,000, if you're saying 40,000, that would be if everybody's tax was $40,000 for ESD, then we're reducing that. That's not, we're talking about pennies.
My phone died, so. Both my devices died, so I can't.
Yeah, $42,929.80. That's all I know.
That sound about what I got.
That's what the blanket, that's how it would affect this budget here.
Okay.
Now,
Yes, sir, go ahead, please.
that's as close as I can get with the numbers I got from Melissa Lutz and your tax rate. I can get it within $1.
And what's our annual receipts?
Don't know. I don't know those.
Historically, what's our annual
What's
receipts?
that, do you have that year P&L? That'll show, the P&L will show what our income is for the year.
So what percentage is this gonna take off of our bottom line that we, and then what are our expenses and all those?
So for last year's fiscal year, the total revenue, everything altogether, penalty and delinquent, was $719,434.10.
And our expenditures, which are gonna be messed up because of the lease of the ambulances and all that other stuff. But what was the expenditures if it was?
$604,346.8.
So we're gonna, we're talking about half of that delta, that difference, right now. And then how much is the 65 and over gonna be?
We haven't got there yet. Next item.
That's the key, you know. I love, me personally, I love to give, take it all, people, have your money back. Sorry for taking it. I'm not paying you much, but I'm sorry for taking it.
So let's start with the 65 and over, disabled.
Yeah.
Well, we're on this item, so, yeah.
No, I'm saying, yeah, I understand the standpoint of what we offer. And again, we haven't talked about do we want to increase services. You know, we already heard what Allegiance would charge if we needed to add an additional unit. But the volume wasn't there, but we do have all these mutual, well, not all these mutual calls, but we have mutual calls. You know,
We're gonna grab a better handle of it if Jason's able to get more information to us on these late calls.
But that's what I say, it seems like our timing, to me, seems, for the general, is just not ideal.
When is the timing correct?
Well, when we get better handle on what our next year budget would be as far as, you know, what do we want to do with Allegiance? What do we want to do? What are we going to do with our ambulances? Are we going to sell them? Are we going to keep them?
Well, the Allegiance offered to pay us what they were purchased for.
No, I agree, but we haven't talked as a new board what we're doing with those things. Yeah, and if we don't sell them, then we got lease payments that impact our budget. So it increases our overall expenditure.
So you're saying once we eliminate some liabilities,
We can't,
Well,
you can't make decisions about this, but at the next meeting, we can put it on the agenda. The Allegiant has more than one option for the truck, so they're willing, as long as they hold the contract, to make our lease payment. And we'd still maintain ownership. And then at the end of the term, we could negotiate that with Allegiant. We want to maintain ownership.
you're going to put that on the agenda next week.
Was there a deadline, Jerry? I thought you mentioned there was a deadline where you do it by.
There's no deadline.
yeah, we gotta call them election. Well, no, we just vote as a board.
What's your,
July is the latest, but I would like to see some direction tonight. Just me personally. I don't think that, like I said, I haven't seen our budget yet. I don't know what the budget looks like. I've only been here 2 months. I haven't seen the budget. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what, how the tax income has offset, has affected the budget. I think that the sales tax income would offset the cost of this.
Did we just start taking the sales tax income?
Last 3 or 4 months, 5 months, something.
Really? And what was it, 100, something like that?
We started receiving sales tax in February, so we don't expect.
For 1 year?
So this February will be a year.
Okay, and what's our annual on that? I think it's, well, we need to look, what's that? Yeah, so it's about 100.
Higher than
No.
But we don't know what those expenses are still gonna come in at.
Wait, but you get $12,000 from the comptroller, that's not the sales tax?
That's what we received for that month. That is only by month, because that's what Ron wanted, was the month expenditures. So total amount as of February of last year to present is $138,655.42. So if you go to your balance sheet, your check sheet, that'll give you what your balance is.
138.
So we don't have a full year.
Jerry, are you open to starting out at $5,000 or $10,000 and then let us get a grasp at what we're doing? And if we can increase it, then we increase it at a later time?
No? You asked me a question.
Well, and I'm asking.
Yeah. Well,
I understand what you want to do. You want to give money back to the community, and I agree with
He
that.
wants to give the community back their money.
Right.
And I want to show those that are living on a fixed income, and you're not there. I do know some people.
A few years from there.
I do know some people who kind of live on that Social Security check.
Oh, I know.
And when you get to the end of the month, you got to make a few decisions.
Right.
And granted, this is only a once a year amount, but if they can look at that and say, well, I'm not going to have to pay X, I'm going to have to pay X minus, and divide it and apply that minus somewhere else. You know, and it only may be a couple of $100.
Yeah, and again, I think the 65, I'll definitely support the 65 and disabled exemption. I think to me, it's the general homestead exemption that I'd like to have more time to assess our budget as a whole before we make any decision on the dollar value to it.
In my opinion, that wholesale, that across the board exemption doesn't do anything except help those people out there, and it makes us more conservative. It makes us more aware of what we're spending our money on. It makes us a little bit tighter, which we ought to be anyway. You know, it's nice to have tax money coming in every year and being able to just whatever, but there ain't nothing I hate worse than spending somebody else's money. And
we're talking about 40,000 for the year, so we're talking about roughly $4,000 a month. $4,000 in a month, every month that we need to parse off in order to ensure we can still balance our budget here as it is.
Which I haven't seen. Have you seen the budget?
Well, I'm just looking at this month. I have not seen it, no. And that's why I'm looking at this monthly statement, and we need your projections on this one to know. I'm not comfortable saying anything on this one until we can do a full evaluation. We need to know where our money's going first, and then where we're gonna start packing at some expenses.
I mean, we have time. I don't know why it's a rush.
Yeah.
We say we have time.
It's not a rush. If I brought it up in June, it'd be a rush, right? But it's not a rush. I've been talking about this for a couple of months. No rush. It's either, you know, too many women here in the news. It's time to make a decision or get off of the seat. And that's just my opinion. I hate, like I said, I hate spending other people's money. And if it comes down to it, I won't spend it.
Well, give your bonus money back. They
What
paid for
bonus?
this position.
Well, I was hoping to get the salary doubled.
You
But,
get 2 cups of coffee.
yeah. But, no, the last time we were here, it was kind of a thing that everybody agreed was a good thing. So put it on the agenda, and I'm gonna make a motion, and we can vote on it. And if it gets voted down, it gets voted down. If it gets voted in, it gets voted in. It's no big deal. Not gonna bother me, it's not gonna affect my take-home pay and none of that stuff. But I'm gonna make a motion that we grant a $20,000 homestead exemption to the homesteads in Medina County ESD4.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I don't second that, but then we want to go through. I do have something on it though.
Well, you gotta have a discussion after that.
No, I'll make another motion once this one goes through.
You can, I don't know where it says, but you can amend the motion.
That one dies for lack of a second.
Call for it 3 times.
I have a motion. Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Some guys here.
So,
Okay.
I would dies for
Let's
lack
have
of
a
a second.
discussion.
to that, I would be incredibly comfortable with once we can run the numbers. And so my opinion would be something let's see, if we revisit your number, I'm not opposed to it at all. I just want to make sure that we're covered first. So once we can do a full evaluation on our expenses, we could do that in a workshop, we can do that next month, I don't care. You call me in, I'll come in here anytime not anytime. If I'm open, then I can come in here and I'll walk those numbers with you and give every doggone nickel back to everybody who's it's theirs, it's not ours. But I don't know that we can make sure we can cover our expenses, and then we would have to go back to the public and say, oh, we screwed up, we can't do math. We need some more from you.
Well, I think that we can do that.
Paris and thought, but we can't, once we can do the math and understand, again, those budget projections for the next year, then we can say, go.
You could have a budget workshop about it, and then that way it can be on next month's agenda.
You can't have a budget workshop about it because I haven't seen the budget.
But they can present the budget workshop to you.
Y'all just passed a budget and
Yeah, but he's new, I'm new, he's new.
It is online, but it's in your email as well because you guys just requested.
Okay, so honestly, Jerry, I'm with you, but I'm like Steve, I want to look at the budget and see what we put on paper. And I'm willing to revisit that.
And it could be more. I mean, that's the other thing,
Well, ESD1's got $8 million a year coming in. We don't have $8 million a year coming in, so.
So before this year's budget and last year's budget, where we were going self-op and had all these additional expenditures, our surplus was healthy annually. So that's what I say. I mean, I don't want to rush the decision because we may find if we decide to sell all the equipment we bought and just take self-op completely, get back to what our original operating budget was, that we may find that, again, we have a large surplus that we don't need the tax revenues to be where they're at. But that's why I want to look at the numbers. Right? we gotta redo the whole budget and have those conversations about what is the future of the ESD? Because, again, before you guys got on, there was still a desire to push us towards self-operation.
Well, there was a desire, but there wasn't money there to do it.
Well, again, I don't know what y'all's desire was. I mean, I heard y'all in the community comments before, and, you know, if it is to stay self-op, then we should really consider selling all the assets off, because
My
we put
personal,
money in our
my personal
bank account.
they do a good job. Why are we screwing with it?
So that's what I'm
And
saying.
it's more fiscally responsible to our constituents.
So, but
Next.
Okay, so number 10, consider and approve adoption of over 65 or disabled exemption.
I'll make the same exemption with the same amount. I mean, the same motion with the same amount, $20,000 for 65 and over households, of which there are 1,936. And the number would come out to $18,198 and
So
46.
we gotta come up with 70 grand.
Between 60.
Okay. I'm there. I'll find every nickel we can, and once we can review budgets and everything, I'm 100% there. Take every nickel out of here and throw it back in the public where it belongs. Once we do a budget workshop and run the numbers. I don't think it'd be responsible for us to cut it now, not knowing, I don't know enough about it. So make a decision on that, personally.
So we want to table it till next month?
No, I made the motion. We can go through the motions again.
You made a motion, okay. I have a motion that we adopt the over 65 and disabled exemption. I have a motion. Can I get a second? I have a motion, can I get a second? I have a motion, can I get a second?
Motion dies.
Guys,
So again, 100% with you, but I've got to get a hold of the numbers and,
Well, it's there and,
but I haven't seen the numbers and I'm not just going to say.
either, Patrick.
I know, and if there's a big surplus, I'm 100% with you.
And I think that this board should look at making a surplus somehow by going through the AT&T bills and doing something with that monopoly. And other matters that we can cut, we should cut. And I'm not going to brag, but I always had enough money to pay $390,000 cash for a building or $180,000 for a vehicle. Because I was, what do they call it, pinche, retard, whatever you call it. I was tight with the public's money because I hated to spend it. So there is a means out there where we can get the funds, but it may mean we're going to have beans and water for a couple of years.
Right.
I'm all right with that.
I'm good with you. I just want to see numbers so that I've got it in my head and we're good to go. Okay?
Well,
Can I ask a question real quick? I mean, not an argument, just a question. On number 10, you don't talk about homestead exemption. I can only assume that's what you're talking about too there.
Yes.
Okay. 'Cause it's
9
not-
and 10.
Yeah, it doesn't say
9's the homestead and 10's the
Over 65.
over 65, but is it a homestead? Over 65 and?
If we approved, it would be both.
Okay, good, because if you don't, you need to define disabled.
Well, we don't need to define disabled, just put 65 or over.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you can leave disabled off number 10.
I'm both.
But the number, according to the tax assessor collector and your tax rate, the numbers we're gonna have to look at maybe affecting the budget would be 60,200 and change.
We'll find it.
Huh?
I'll do everything I can to find it.
Well, yeah. Christie, if you'll show me where the budget is so I can read it and look at it,
She sent it in the email.
okay.
It's on your computer.
So on that, Jason,
Gotta find your email.
The number that you just gave,
Can you-
60,200, is that for the 65 and over?
That's both.
Okay, thank you.
The regular ones was 42,929.
can you walk us on the all the expenses that we have out there right now that are outstanding? And find out what they'll present us back with options that can cut.
The budget from her.
That's what we got going on this anyway, so make sure that, make sure you have redundancy again, so you're gonna be able to see all that stuff.
And I can find this 55,000 of it right now.
You what?
I can find 55,000 right now. But anyway, that's.
I'm supremely confident we can. Well, okay, I'm 95% sure we can.
Well, the ambulance is alone, I brought this in.
Yeah.
My boots out.
We,
Thank y'all for being patient. We're almost done.
do we get to take, we don't get to take that up today, do we? The ambulances?
You want to next week, Marcy?
Yes.
Okay.
I sent you also an email of the options that
Yeah,
So please-
I saw those.
Be prepared to present, Steve. Here's the options, the costs, everything else is in there. Remember, I asked you about the extra equipment that's there, all that stuff that we bought.
And if one of y'all can't make a workshop, let me know. I'm retired. That's retired.
I'm working on the airline right now.
Oh,
You're retired.
I'll pick you up on the way in, so.
You don't need a deer blind. Come, I'll let you shoot one out of my garage loft.
I'm sure your neighbors would appreciate that.
All you gotta do is sit at our, there was 4 of them that ran across the north end of ours yesterday.
What you do is you open the window, back off about 10 feet, and shoot. All the sound stays in the house.
Sniper man.
Mom's will pick it up.
Okay, number 11, information on safety conference.
So, the concern I had raised with the prior board was historically, the coordinator had been attending as part of the board and on the district expenses. In order to keep separate, there are certain rule requirements with contractors to maintain status from employee versus contractors. And so I would suggest that if the coordinator wishes to go, that it would have to be out of that person's pocket, not on the expense of the district.
Oh, there's some contract language in there, isn't there? If we're requiring training for her.
But we're not requiring training.
Oh.
But I attend, the only thing I attend is the EFCO 101s, so that way I can make sure I know the rules, and I attend all the coordinated classes with the rest of the coordinators.
But as a contractor, that would be the responsibility of the contractor to keep their professional learning. Now,
Is this, are we requiring it? Is it a requirement?
Not from our.
Is it a legal requirement that she has to go?
Not that I know.
That I don't know.
Well, the board doesn't have any bylaws or policies to say that it's required.
Is this something that has to be done every year, or is it like I've been for us every other year?
For us as board members.
Well, I've heard different.
It's required 6 hours in over 2 years is what the law says.
Okay, so every other year.
Right.
That'd be another way to cut expenses. Go every other year instead of every year.
Or rotate the positions so that not everybody has to go this year.
Still be every other year.
Right.
Yeah, that would be another way to cut
Yeah,
expenses.
absolutely.
And if we did that, I wouldn't have to go in February.
I didn't think you were going in February.
But you could go much faster.
I just attend the coordinator classes, which is with all the coordinators that are there.
Okay.
They give finance, QuickBooks things, they talk about different things.
Well, if I'm supposed to be there in February, and the women in here, and Chris, you're a woman too, but I'll.
Did you just get reappointed to a 2-year spot?
Yeah.
Okay. So those two, you're up next year, correct?
I'm up, yeah,
Yeah.
end of this year.
Well, I'm gonna go get my 6 hours and knock that out for the first year. I don't know.
So what I would suggest is that if we want to allow Christie then to bill us back, but we shouldn't pay for her directly. Again, I'm talking IRS rules, I'm not talking about legalities or anything else. I'm talking contractor versus
I'm
employee.
gonna throw something out there though. If we're bringing the chief in to understand her role, would it be, if we're going to send one of the administrative staff, it would be him because he doesn't have she's been through it, and he is not, and to fully understand what that duty and responsibility is required. So, and are we talking about 6 hours?
No, it's a 3-day seminar, isn't it? Three?
So there's certain
2 days?
classes as an ESD board that you have to have. So you have to have the rules of order, the record retention, and public something. So those are the classes that you can get at that ESD, so you don't have to take them online. So in 3 days, you can get all that taken care of, that's required through the state that you have to take, so you can get that all done. So he's exactly right. And
Hold on. We can do this all online?
Yes. Well, some of the classes, yes.
Is there anything that we can't do online, that we have to go up there for?
I don't think it's book.
I don't know. I haven't been to a safety convention in 15, 20 years.
I mean, aside from kissing babies, is there really a reason for us to go and be gone and spend money?
If there's a way not to, I'm all for it.
You do have to have 6 hours.
But can that be accomplished online?
I don't know, so I'll have to check the book. I have to go home.
If there's a way, let me know, because I don't want to go.
I am.
I'll do it online.
I will do everything online.
So everybody has been registered, so that we can get the rates, the discounts. So if we cancel everybody's rates right now, who does not want to go, we will be charged for one night. I want to.
That's better than 3.
So I just need to know who wants to go.
I don't mind taking online classes. I can do that. I'll get my wife to set the computer up.
And I agree with you. I'll go, and I think Jason needs to go so that he's coming up, understanding everything that's going on.
We'll have to go next year, because he's not registered this year.
Can he take one of our spots?
I can ask him.
So please find out between the two of you if we can accomplish everything online. And if we can, I think it could be valuable for you to go. In person, again.
It is a lot of great information.
Shake babies, kiss hands, do the thing. Network. That's what those are for. So if these things can be accomplished online, please. I'll do it online. He's gonna do it. I got you on it.
I like to be a social butterfly, so.
Okay, well.
And it's besides the networking, it's the classes, because I do learn a lot in the program classes. So with everybody else,
So-
getting different ideas from different.
Yeah, and I think that in lieu of you've been, and you went last year?
Yes.
Okay, in lieu of you going this year, because it's a 2-year requirement too, so if it were that, then let's get him in there. Let's get him to do it, because if we have to send people, I don't know. I don't want to.
I just need to know who wants to go. Are you?
I'm going.
I just need to know if we can do it all.
Here's your agenda. You need you to sign this piece of paper saying that I'm giving you mileage per diem.
I don't want mileage and per diem. If he goes,
If they can command vehicle.
That he doesn't, I don't have a check for him.
Only.
No, I'm saying he doesn't need mileage.
Yeah.
If he goes, I can ride with him, there you go, at less than the cost of this year.
I would have to redo it and give you.
That would be fine.
Okay, so don't sign it.
All about saving money.
Am I out of line? Is everybody agree with what I'm saying?
if I have to go, I'll go. If I don't have to go, I don't want to go.
And if there's just.
I recommend that you do go, just so you can take the ESD 101. That's just my personal.
If there's something that we can do like on a 1-day thing, instead of me, put me in a
ESD 101
hotel.
is on Thursdays.
I don't need to be in a hotel. I can drive over there.
Yeah, Mark said he could just do that. The ESD.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff they do that he's not in his purview.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that that
ESD 101
safe.
is actually the two
What
attorneys
y'all are doing here, open
that
meetings,
created
records, all
ESDs.
those classes that you should be going to get, you ain't gonna get them. You
Yeah,
ain't
some
gonna
of the
get
classes you
the
won't get.
full effect of them all.
Right, Jerry.
We're not gonna get them online?
You're not gonna get the full effect of it.
Yeah.
There's some important stuff that happens at those places.
And I can tell you, I've been to 3 of those meetings when I was the chief, and they're packed with information. But understand, if you don't wanna go, save the money, take it online, do that.
I got animals to kill, so,
Let me know.
please let us know if there's any chance, Dan. If there's, and maybe I'll do them next year or something, but.
Do you have a count?
No, the only one going right now is Scott.
I'm going, are you gonna go?
I have to find out whether or
Tell me
not,
to.
I have to find out whether or not he.
Well, I'm asking, because you gotta make arrangements with your wife to be gone for 3 days.
It's a requirement.
And again, Christie, if I have to go over.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not,
I mean, if it was my wife, I would just tell her.
yeah, so says the man when he's not near his wife.
You haven't met my wife, sir.
Yeah, but my wife.
And then you have to decide whether or not the family's going to be able to come.
You're gonna go?
You going?
I think, Steve, it would be very good for you to go. So that, I think it would be very good.
Yes, I'm looking.
Learning experience, because there's a lot, and you'll get to network with others.
Okay, so we're gonna do an executive session?
Tony, I need you to sign it.
Okay, so the next meeting
You're not going?
is February
Steve,
12th.
That's all. Got it, it's already working on it.
Anybody got any questions, concerns, comments?
I have one comment.
Currently, the second ambulance that goes to Natalia can't be parked up there because they don't have a power cord to plug into the unit. Can we authorize this man to go get a power cord to plug in that unit so it can be stationed up there during the day?
Absolutely. How much are we talking?
I don't know.
$50.
And I
Yeah,
have,
I was gonna say,
I'd still have to talk to Natalia Fire and make sure it's okay with them.
talk to, yeah, talk to Chuck, talk to whoever.
So before you guys came on the board, the ambulance has sat out there for a long time because the Allegiances were in the bay and our trucks died twice. When they got an oil change today, they had to replace one of the batteries because it failed. So,
We need to charge.
well, that's why they have the shorelines now. We had to put the shorelines in so the trucks wouldn't stay dying. So it's something that we'll have to talk to Natalia Fire or city.
I'm sure
somebody.
Yeah.
Plug in somewhere.
I have no doubt, but we need to.
So what's going on with Natalia then? Are they spending time, is they spending a lot of time up at the station?
So
Is it just like hanging out stuff, or is it?
So
Well,
Natalia's
they posted
station,
up there in the tally.
Natalia's station doesn't have,
Thank you all for coming.
Did y'all adjourn?
not yet.
Not yet.
So the fire station doesn't have crew quarters for them to stay.
Okay.
So they would just go in the mornings after their rig checks, breakfast, whatever they gotta do, chores.
Yeah.
They would go, they would kick back in the fire station,
Yeah,
and then in the evening, around 5 o'clock, they would come back here.
okay.
Because they have to respond out of here at night, because this is.
So they just stay up there so it's easier for them to get calls on that?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Understand. Are we adjourned?
Not yet.
Any other comments? We adjourn. We adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, you leave that here last night?